This is a Pele Media podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Goonies Minute. Thank you so much for joining us today. Goonies Minute is the show where we carefully explore the movie Goonies minute by minute. I'm Brady.
And I'm your understudy co-host, Chris.
Understudy.
Learning how to be a host. One of these days I can lead one of these things.
Or just have
continue to ride on your coattails.
Yeah, we'll call it that. But today we're going to be talking about minute number 15 of the Goonies. And this is a pretty cool minute because this is where the mystery really starts to begin. And you said, I think on the first episode, that there's a certain piece of music from the soundtrack of this movie that just does something for you. And I think it's the music that's in this scene when they start finding the map and exploring.
First time that we're, if I'm not mistaken, first time we're introduced to that music.
Mm-hmm, I think so.
It's when Mikey sees the map that's in the picture frame, a glass picture frame.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. But without further ado, Brady, do you want to get into the minute?
Let's do it. In the previous minute, we saw the gang continue to root through all of the pirate paraphernalia in the attic. At 15 minutes and 5 seconds, Brant continues to read a book he has found about pirates. At 15 minutes and 10 seconds, Mikey explains where all of this stuff came from. At 15 minutes and 22 seconds, Chunk explains where the term Goonies derives from and how it applies to them. At 15 minutes and 35 seconds, Mikey discovers the map in a dusty frame in the corner. At 15 minutes and 55 seconds, he realizes that the only way to get the map out of the frame is to have Chunk break the glass in typical fashion. And thus ends minute 15 of the Goonies. All right, so this minute starts off with Brand, who has found the pirate book in the attic. And I had to do a lot of digging to find out what book this is, but it is called Pirates of the Spanish Main by an author named Hamilton Cochran. And I looked on Amazon, and you can get it for about $40-50, and I really, really, really want to get it just to check it out, because the artwork that they show in the book is amazing.
It's pretty cool. It depicts seems like quite a bloody battle.
Yeah,
going on, and it spans both pages.
Yeah,
it's like really nasty, whatever's going on.
So this scene actually answers a question that I've been wondering for years, and that is, why does Mr. Walsh have all this stuff in the attic, and where does it come from? And, you know, having watched the movie all these years, that information is really just kind of thrown in your face, and you're almost not even meant to understand it, because all these kids are talking over each other. Mikey keeps stepping on his words when he's explaining that all of this is props from a certain retrospective show that his dad was putting on for the museum. And this was, as he calls them, the rejects from the show. This is kind of the, I guess, crap props and stuff like that they had, and he just put them away, put them in his attic.
Yeah, and he says that, but also, do you remember what Crystal said about what it possibly could be? That maybe Mr. Walsh, you know, he was chasing this treasure, and then his wife made him put it away for a little bit.
I really do like that, where she was going with
cool.
that.
And looking at this, you know, it's props for something, but also towards the end, I know I'm getting ahead of myself in the minute, but right at the end, Brant says something about, you know, everybody look for that treasure.
Yeah.
So it can't be completely props. There has to be some truth to it.
And look at the way the house is decorated. I mean, clearly this guy has an affinity for pirates and treasure hunting and stuff like this. And, you know, as a curator of a museum, I have a feeling that if a retrospective show was done, whatever, the props would probably go back to where they came from. And this is stuff that's, you could say, has almost been kind of pirated and put up in the attic.
I think
by someone
really
who has an affinity.
It might be his obsession.
I think so. And I mean, you know, something like that. I mean, pirates are pretty awesome, but and pirate lore and all that. But for Mikey to have the kind of affection that he has for it, you have to assume that came from somewhere.
Think about, you know, in previous minutes, Miss Walsh, the controlling. She's a little bit controlling.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in a bad way, but she's definitely a motherly figure, being a mom.
Mm-hmm.
But she's a caring mom. But don't you think she would be I could see her telling that husband, if she's going to put her kids in place, she might have put the husband in place too.
I can see that. And she does.
And it makes sense.
When she's telling Mouth to translate to Rosalita, keep the attic door closed all the time, didn't she say something in regards to, like, your father doesn't want you to go, or wants it closed or something? Or am I making that up?
We can't remember that.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. We'll have to look back at that.
We'll have to check back, and I could be making that up, but that just kind of goes to show that Crystal's theory on that, her headcanon, if you will, is, probably more right than you would think.
And I never would have thought about that. I know it's, I was actually listening back to that minute today, and neither one of us had ever thought about that, even come close to thinking about that, and it was really good, and it was really genuine reaction to it.
That's why, it benefits from having Crystal on your show, is because she's able to do this and just play with and run with these ideas because she's such a movie buff. So then we move over to Chunk with the plasma globe.
Doesn't it seem like any 80s movie that had anything to do with science, you had a lot of those globes?
Yeah, no, I do think I remember seeing a lot of stuff in the 80s where there would be like a science class or something like that. There was always a plasma globe, which would serve no purpose. Right. I don't know, maybe for some kind of example on something, but the fact that it was in every one of them is just, hilarious. And
no, absolutely. And the rejects, do you remember?
Yes.
And I can't believe I just missed this, but Chunk says with a smile and the pirate hat on, kind of like us, the Goonies.
Right. So, yeah, Chunk actually uses the term the Goonies, I believe, for the first time.
Yeah.
In this movie.
I'm almost positive it was, too.
Yeah. And I've always wondered what the term Goonies means. Now, I know they reference the Goondocks, which I think is their sort of affectionate name.
Right.
Their slang name for where they live in Astoria is the Goondocks, and thus they are the Goonies. And I don't know that the only other time I remember someone saying the words the Goonies, Andy, you Goonie, just like that. You should have played that part. I could have done a little bit better.
I'm tougher than that dude, though.
I think just about anybody's probably tougher than Troy.
Yeah. Then you take all of the focus to Mikey crawling along the floor to find what would look like from the back a large framed picture.
Yeah.
And for the first time, there's an isolation of a little bit of thunder in the background, and the first time you hear that music, which is specific to a revelation, a very important moment about to happen, that's the first time you hear that music.
Yeah.
And, he turns it over, and it's the map, and, he's taking the dust and dusting it off.
What I think is interesting is that, so Mikey, like you're saying, he wipes away the dust on the frame and everything, and we're shown the map for a second, but then the camera kind of makes a focus on his reflection.
Yes.
So we're seeing Mikey start to put together this mission and this interest in it that he has been totally avoiding this whole time by saying, guys, let's get out of the attic.
There's a seriousness in the look in his face.
Yeah, and
you
suddenly
can see it, and that's, you can't fake that look.
No.
And that's what was so great about, as a child actor, being able to get that look on his face.
Yeah, and to be able to have that turn right there where he didn't want anybody up in the attic, didn't want to have anything to do with any of this, and now suddenly there's a spark. And in the next minute, or the next couple of minutes, we're going to see Mikey completely turned. And now he's just, all he wants to do is explain.
He's all in.
He's all in. So I think this is where the pirate in Mikey starts to come about. And he's going to put together a mission to go find the rich stuff.
And then right at the end, he gets a little look on his face, and he looks to the right, and he calls for Chunk.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
And that's how the minute ends.
That's how the minute ends. So, yeah, that's all I have for this minute. How about you?
That's pretty much it, and some good stuff about to happen.
Yeah, absolutely right. We're really getting into the mystery, and then we're going to take off on the adventure, and it's not going to stop. So,
good deal.
Good deal. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We will see you tomorrow for minute number 16, and until then, I am Brady.
And this is Chris.
And we're here to remind you that
Goonies never say die.
Perfect. I like it this time. Goonies Minute is a fan-supported podcast. If you like the show, then leave us a review on iTunes. You can find us at GooniesMinute.com, Facebook.com/GooniesMinute, Twitter.com/GooniesMinute, and at Instagram at GooniesMinute. You can contact us at GooniesMinute@gmail.com. You've been listening to a Pele Media podcast. For premium content and exclusive podcasts, visit us at Patreon.com/Pele Media. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/PeleMedia and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/PeleMedia.